We welcome, sir, Dr. Varun Bajaj, sir, Senior Member of IEEE, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Electronics and Communication Engineering at PDPM, Indian Institute of Information Technology, Design and Manufacturing, Jabalpur. We welcome you, sir. We welcome in the second day. This is the third session on artificial intelligence application in biomedical systems. So, sir, please start your session.
Okay.
The attendees are there.
Yeah, so voice is clear?
Yes, sir. Voice is clear. If any attendee have any question or any doubt, please post in chat window so that we can solve the queries at last of the session.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
so the last session we discussed about the pathological states using EEG signal. Now today we will talk about the physiological state, how that can be identified by using EEG signals and how it can help to develop some artificial intelligence based system. Here we talk about the time frequency image based features for classification of sleep stages. So as we know, EEG signal is commonly used for classification of sleep stages. So classification of sleep stages is multi-class classification problem. It can also useful for diagnosis of sleep related disorders. So there are 83 type of sleep related disorders has been find out. So based on if the person do not have proper sleep, then there are some side effects like they will feel stress, and there are different type of phenomena due to improper sleep. So according to sleep state study, the sleep is recorded and sleep is characterized by the 6 different stage. Okay, so sleep have different patterns. Okay, so if due to some pattern or some stage of sleep is missing, then the person they feel some difficulty during the awake condition. Okay, so for example, during the RKS standard, they have divided a sleep into a 6 different stage. First is awake. Second is non-rapid eye movement have 4 different stages. Sleep stage 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then the last 6th stage is known as rapid eye movement. Okay. So the S1 and S2 is known as light sleep. Clear? And S3 and S4 is known as deep sleep. And rapid eye movement, when the person is sleeping, that time the eyes movement is occurring. That condition is known as rapid eye movement. So what happening? So during the sleep, there is some pattern. Okay? In that particular pattern, every 30 second of interval, your stage will change. Sometimes the stage will be same or sometimes stage will be change. So every person, if normal sleep, everybody have same type of sleep pattern. If some pattern is missing, then the person having some difficulty or some problem in the sleep. So that's why we require to identify type of stage is coming during the sleep and how much contribution to which particular of stage. So after 2007, American Academy of Sleep Medicine, they have merged S3 and S4, and this is known as slow wave sleep or also known as deep sleep. Okay. Previously, according to RK standard, the sleep has contained 6 different stages, but after 2007, AASM has characterized the sleep having only 5 stages because they have merged S3 and S4 into a same class, which is known as deep sleep. The manual method for classification of sleep stage is very time consuming, may be prone to intra-inter scorer variability. Just a minute. hello, sorry for disturbance. Yeah, so the manual scoring of performed by the trained professional or clinician. So reliable and agreement of manual sleep scoring may be unsatisfactory and because of subjective judgment and possible to prone to human error, because when the person having a 8-hour recording, every 30 seconds your sleep stage is changing. So by visual scanning this particular signal, 30-second signal is belonging to which particular class, it is very difficult. That's why we require some automatic method so that the person, the neurologist or clinician automatically can identify which type of stages are missing during the sleep, so that they can identify which type of problem the person having, which type of problem is occurring. Sometimes the person having a apnea problem, apnea disorder, snoring is also one of the sleep related disorders. So first stage during the sleep stage classification, we need to identify the stage of sleep, how much contribution is coming due to that particular stage. We need to develop some automatic system. So for this, the database which is available online. So when you will go this site, this is known as www.physio-net.org, PhysioNet Bank. Here you can get most of the pathological or clinician database. From that, you can download the database, you can get the information of the database. In this particular database, 8 male and female recording is available, which having a age is 21 to 35. The recording has been done by the bipolar recording of EEG signal, and the sample is 100 Hz sampling frequency. According to RKS standard, it has 47 epochs. That 47 epochs is containing from awake condition S1, S2, S3 and S4 and rapid eye movement. So for example, 350 belongs to S awake class, 310 belongs to S1 class, 2220 belongs to S2 class, 510 belongs to S3 class, and S4 class 480 and 830 is REM rapid eye movement from these 8 subjects. So this is given in the data. Now our work, we need to develop a system, multi-class classification system, so that we can identify these classes automatically. So what we have done, so now tomorrow we have talk about the decomposition. Okay, what we did, we have EEG signal, and that particular EEG signal we have decomposed into a different bands. Clear? Now today we talk about the time frequency representation. Time frequency representation means previously the Fourier transform will give you the transformation when your time domain signal will convert into a frequency domain. Okay, but time frequency domain will give you the information what frequency component present in what particular time duration. Suppose this figure is showing time frequency representation by using SPWBT, smoothed pseudo Wigner-Willi distribution. So when we talk about the time frequency distribution, so after FFT, STFT has came in the existence. STFT means short time Fourier transform. But short time Fourier transform, you need to select the window. That Hamming window, just so yeah, sorry, STFT having a problem, what will be the window size? Okay, and what will be the appropriate window to model that particular signal? Then after that, an STFT has same resolution in time and frequency domain. People have started to work on the continuous wavelet transform. So continuous wavelet transform, we need to select basis function which is known as wavelet, mother wavelet. Okay. So which mother wavelet is better for modeling? So people have started to work on the 80s and 90s. People have used different type of wavelet function and they are trying to model that particular signal. In case of EEG, we do not have any prior information, so we cannot find out which particular basis function will be useful. Okay, that's why we have a Cohen class distribution. In Cohen class, there is a Wigner-Willi distribution. Wigner-Willi distribution is problem across term. Okay, then the recently SPWVD came in the existence in 2000, near around 2005-6. SPWVD characteristics, it has smooth frequency and time resolution, where by selection of window, the parameter of Z tau and G tau, you can find out better time as well as frequency resolution. That's why SPWVD is providing better resolution as compared to other time frequency representation. So that's why we have explored SPWVD, converting time domain signal into a 2D plot. Clear? So because here we have better resolution, better information we can extract. Then after that, this particular time frequency representation used as an image. First time, because what is image? Image, when one independent variable, dependent variable is varying with respect to two independent variable, then it is known as image. Image क्या होती है? There is a x-axis, there is a y-axis, and there is a some value of the pixel. That is known as image. In a time frequency representation is also there is a one time, there is a frequency, there is a power spectral density. So that also consider as a image. So when we consider as a image, so entire image processing can be applied after the time frequency representation. Once you have time frequency representation, then entire image processing can be applied. Whatever the person have developed in the image processing, the same thing they can use here. But this is the first idea how we can convert one-dimensional signal into a two-dimensional, and that two-dimensional signal is also meaningful time frequency representation. After that, the color image has been converted into a gray image. So this gray image you can see here. Once you have this gray image, then we found that the sleep also related with the rhythm. What do you mean by the rhythm? So the EEG signal or brain having a different type of frequency bands, that is known as rhythm. Delta rhythm, theta rhythm, alpha rhythm, beta rhythm, or gamma rhythm. So the range of delta rhythm is 0 to 4 Hertz, theta rhythm is 4 to 8 Hertz, alpha rhythm is 8 to 13 Hertz, beta rhythm is 13 to 30 Hertz, or 30 to 50 Hertz is known as gamma rhythm. So what we know from the previous study, we have known that the sleep have some relation with the rhythm. Then what we have done, the time frequency representation will give you time as well as frequency component. Then this time frequency representation we will convert into a time frequency image. Then that particular image, this frequency band, we can divide by using these indexes. How we can divide? Conceptually, we already know the sampling frequency. In that particular database, sampling frequency is 100 Hertz. If sampling frequency is 100 Hertz, then we know that the maximum frequency will be containing that particular signal is 50 Hertz. Clear? There is no doubt on that. The maximum frequency is 0 to 50 Hertz. This is y-axis which containing the frequency component 0 to 50 Hertz. Clear? If we want to find out delta rhythm means 0 to 4 Hertz image we need to segment out. So suppose there the number is rows, number of row is 3000. Number of rows is 3000. So means 3000 indices is containing a 50 Hertz frequency. Clear? So one indices is containing a 50 divided by 3000. Then how much 4 Hertz is containing how much indices? 240 indices. So 240 cross the time value. This is your first image, which is corresponding to delta rhythm, which is A. For second, 4 to 8 hertz, which is B. 8 to 13 hertz, which is C. 13 to 30 hertz, which is D. And E belongs to gamma rhythm, which is 30 to 50 hertz. Clear? This gray image also you can convert into a black and white image by using, there are so many techniques at Otsu threshold method. There are different type of technique to convert gray image to colored image. As I already told, once you will convert your EEG signal into a time frequency representation, then entire image processing can be applied. So based on that, we are doing some image processing technique here. Based on this image processing technique, we have converted our time frequency image into a time frequency representation into a time frequency image. Then by using this time frequency image, we have divided that particular image into a different bands, and these bands corresponding to that rhythm. After that, we have find out histogram of that gray image and histogram of this color image, so black and white image. This is the histogram of the gray image, and these are the histogram of black and white image corresponding to that particular rhythm. If you see this, then you can see the delta rhythm having a wider band, means the delta have more spread as compared to theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. So this way we can go for features extraction. Then what I have done here, histogram features I have extracted. Simple features means what will be the maximum count of pixel intensity, what will be the spread of histogram of color image, gray image. Then the third is aspect ratio. Okay, these are the three new features we have explored. Then we have used a classifier. Here multi-class LSSBM classifier has been used. Okay, but there is a one problem in LSSBM classifier. LSSBM classifier is binary classifier. Clear? Then how we can go for multi-class classification problem? So when you want to convert binary classifier into a multi-class classification problem, there are two types of strategy. One is known as 1 versus 1. Second one is known as 1 versus all. What is these strategy or architectures? Suppose LSSBM classifier is one class classifier. So what we do? First time we will go for binary classification in between the class 1 and 2. Okay, 1 against 1. 1 against 1 architecture, how it will work? Either you can go for 1 by 1, means one class you can classify by 2 class. One versus class 1 versus class 2. Then the second time, class 1 versus class 3, class 1 versus class 4, class 1 versus class 5, class 1 versus class 6. Then class 2 versus class 3, class 2 versus class 4. This way you can one by one, you can classify your whole data. Another process, 1 against all. 1 against all, in a one group, you can take class 1 only, and another group you can take other classes, class 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Second time, class 2 you can classify against all, class 3 you can classify against all, class 4. This way you can classify your data. So multi-class classification problem, if you want to use LSSBM classifier or any binary classifier, then you have to use these two different architectures. Okay? So for example, then also you have to select kernel functions. So here we have used 3 different type of kernel functions. We have 3 kernel functions. Without segmentation, if you go without segmentation, means if you use directly time frequency image, then we will extract the feature, then we will go for classification. Then the classification accuracy is very less. It's a 79% by using RBF, 79% for Mexican hate, 79.99% by using Morley wavelength. Clear? When you will go for width segmentation, means the image is divided into 5 different rhythms. Means what we are doing, we are extracting more information from that image, because the sleep having some pattern. All sleep stages is belonging to that particular rhythm. If suppose, for example, awake condition, your alpha rhythm is strong, means only alpha rhythm is have capability to separate these classes. But if you are using an entire image, then this particular characteristics you are not able to identify. That's why the segmentation of image is required. So when we will do the segmentation, or we will divide that image into a different rhythm, then our classification accuracy in the range of 92% by using RBF classifier. By Mexican head, we are getting 87%. By Morley wavelet, we are getting 92.93%. So segmented image segmentation is also important, that we have proved it by using experimentally. This is known as confusing matrix. So confusing matrix provide what is given by the expert and what your method is getting. By using this confusing matrix, you can find out, like for example, awake we were having a data near around 388. Okay, then 308 data is correctly classified. Other is belonging to other classes. Other signals is belonging to other classes. Same S1 by using our method, 234 data is correctly classified. S1 class, other is belonging to other classes. Same for ST 2143 is correctly classified. So this confusing matrix will give you the idea which number of classes, which particular class is not able to identify, or which having a more misclassification. For example, S2 versus SWS means deep sleep having a more number of misclassification. Here 51 is belonging to this class, here is belonging to, means here we can conclude the nature of S2 is near around similar to S3 and S2. This way, for particular class classification accuracy also we can identify by using confusing matrix. This is comparison table. When we are using 6 different classes, then the accuracy is near around 88%, and other paper they have reported 61 and 69%. When we are going AASM standard, that time the other paper is getting 87 and we are getting 92.93%. So this way you can develop the system for multi-class classification problem. Okay, but here now the question is what we can do. This is already existing data that we have done. Now, if you have a system, then you can go for some real-time study. For example, emotion classification. Another example that I am taking for physiological state classification. Emotion, as we already know, emotion is a instant mental activity derived from the circumstances, mood and relationships. Okay, so emotion classification is aimed to develop and improve the intellectual brain computer interface. Brain computer interface means when the brain is doing interfacing in between the computer. Okay, emotion based BCI system find the application in medical science, where we can go for identification of different type of diseases like Parkinson disease, dilemma, or there are different type of diseases which depend on emotions. Okay, so based on this EEG emotion classification, we can identify these diseases, and also we can develop the system for robotics application for emotion classification. Okay, previously people have done emotion classification by using speech or facial expression. Speech means when the person is having the emotion in that particular emotion condition, they have recorded the speech signal, and the facial expression. But these two inputs, easily it can be influenced by the external force. Means the person inside of the body, the person is feeling happy, but he is showing sad. Or person inside of the body, he is sad, and by face or by speech, he is showing he is happy. So these are the speech or facial expression intentionally people can influence. But through EEG, the person cannot influence because they do not have control in EEG. If you are feeling happy, then your EEG will say, your signal will be same in case of happy. You cannot modulate your EEG signal. You cannot change, you cannot influence your EEG signal. That's why we need to go for physiological signals for classification of emotion. Clear? Because the previous study, the people have done, these input can be influenced. But through EEG, you cannot influence your emotions. Okay? So that's why I have chosen a EEG signal for classification or recognition of emotion. So in my experiment, what I have done, I have choose these 4 basic emotions like happy, sad and relax. These 4 conditions I have chosen for development of this system. So when we will go for recording of EEG signal, so this is known as 10-20 electrode position. 10-20 electrode position means during the experiment how EEG signal can be acquired. So what we need to do, once you have EEG system, then you need to mark these particular position of electrode. Clear? How we can mark? So this is known as nasal point. Nasal point means the point in between your head. Okay, so this is known as nasal point. Clear? What you need to do, you need to take this length, you need to calculate for nasal to inion. Okay, because every time the person having a different circumstances of head. Okay, so the 10-20, that particular electrode position you need to identify from the distance, or that is distance depend on the vary from the person to person. Okay, so first you need to find out this nasal point and you need to calculate the circumstances from nasal to inion. Okay, then from nasal to 10% of that, suppose the forehead, this circumstances is suppose 27 centimeter. Then from nasal to 20.7 centimeter, this FP2 point will come. Okay, from same circumstance, F8 point you will get after 20% of the distance. Then earlobe will come, which is known as T4. Then after 20% you will get T6. After 20% you will get O2. After 10% of inion you will get O2. So this way you can find out the electrode position of the brain. So here this is one is known as left hemisphere, another one is known as right hemisphere. So the left hemisphere point is denoted by the even number and right hemisphere point denoted by odd number. Okay, then this is F is known as frontal region of the brain. Frontal means which is near to nasal position. This line is known as central line. This is, and T means temporal line. O means occipital line. Or P means, this is P3, PZ and P4, occipital line. So these are the nomenclature. A1 is known as left ear and A2 known as right ear. Okay. So depend on how you are taking a signal, how you are recording your EEG signals. Based on that, you need to give the electrode positions. Like in our experiment, what we have done, we have shown 12 videos for each person and 3 videos from the each emotions. Okay. Then the recording procedure, we have used 20 subjects. Okay, so what we did, first we will show the blank screen for 5 seconds. Then we will show some video, clip of video. Then again we will show some black screen, then video. This procedure will is done when we will show 12 video. And every time we are recording EEG signals. Clear? Then we will ask after the first video, what people are feeling. What is the feeling of that particular subject? Accordingly, we will mark our position for this particular video. What is the feeling? Second video, what is the feeling? Then accordingly, we have recorded EEG signal. Clear? Before recording, these are the some precaution we have taken. The subject taken from the recording EEG should have a good sleep prior to recording, means he is taking a proper sleep 7-8 hours, and he is not suffering any neurological disorders, and the person do not have taken a medicine from last 8 hours. So based on that, we have recorded our EEG signal so that we can identify whether which particular emotion is recognized. So here the age group, we have taken a 20 healthy subject. The age is 22 to 25. Audio video stimuli we have used 2,556 sampling frequency, and the each emotion length is 20 seconds. Okay, these are the electrode we have selected. So this is our EEG system. Okay, as we are doing physiological study, so without help of neurologist, anybody can record EEG. If you are going for pathology, then it is very difficult to in India find some doctors and neurologists which can help you to data acquisition. Okay, that's why we have done for physiological study. So recording system, in this particular software, you can find out you need to select bipolar recording, monopolar recording, and here you can go for which type of data you required. Clear? So as we have done bipolar recording. Clear? So this is the signals that we have acquired. This is one example of one signal. So like happy, fear, neutral, and relax. By visual scanning of EEG signal, we cannot say which particular signal is belonging to which particular class. So we required a system which automatically identify which particular EEG signal is belonging to which particular class. Clear? So for this, we have developed some algorithm which is known as EMD-VMD algorithm. As you already know about the EMD, provide you the different bands. Clear? But the system we have used this is indigenous. मतलब जो EEG signal है, that is India made EEG signal. Okay, so it has lot of noise, artifacts, because we want to develop a system which is robust, which can work any of the conditions. Okay, but the recording, when you are going for pathological recording, that time you required a system which is very sophisticated. Sophisticated means you require dark room, you require silent condition, which does not your EEG should not affected by the noise. But in a physiological condition, you require a robust system, so that your method, you can develop such a method which can deal with the noise, which can deal with the artifacts, which even your signal is raw signal having different type of problem, that also your method should such a way so that it can deal all type of noise or artifacts. Like for example, we have developed the method EMD will give the subband of the signal like IMFs, which is the band. But by using correlation criteria, we are removing a noise from the IMFs. So what we will do, we will find out by using correlation criteria, we will find out one threshold. Based on the threshold, we will decide that particular IMF is noisy or noise-free component. If it is noisy, then the first step, noisy component, we will separate out. Okay, and those IMF do not having a noise component, that IMF we will merge, and we will find out one signal which is denoised signal. So first step, EMD has been used for denoising all type of EEG signals. Clear? Once your signal is denoised, then we have used variational mode decomposition. Variational mode decomposition will give you instantaneous frequency as well as instantaneous amplitude in the form of modes. Okay? Based on this instantaneous frequency, our sampling frequency is 256 Hz. So the maximum frequency containing our signal is 128 Hz. Clear? And our requirement is, we required a signal which having a band is 0.0 Hz to 60 Hz. So by using this instantaneous frequency, the undesired frequency we will remove. Means 0.5 Hz, say less than 0.5 Hz, and more than 60 Hz frequency component we will remove, because these are known as unwanted frequency component. And the desired or required frequency component we will use, and we will add these mode, and we will get some signal. Once you will get this signal, this is known as modified EEG signal, which does not have any noise, and the frequency component is also in between 0.5 hertz to 60 hertz. Clear? From this signal, we will extract features. Then this we will use for classification purpose. For example, this is now you can see this. After applying, this is your raw EEG signal. First step. This is raw EEG signal. After applying EMD, after applying threshold, we will again find out the signal. So this is known as denoised signal. When the high frequency noise is removed. After denoising, the signal will go, after applying VMD, the signal will go in our desired range, desired frequency range. Means the signal having a only frequency in 0.5 hertz to 60 hertz. This signal we will use for features extraction. Clear? So these are the features which is known as sampling entropy, Thales entropy, Higuchi fractal dimension, and Hertz exponent. These four features we have extracted from modified EEG signals. Then the question is whether these features are useful or not. Okay, like in the last session, we have talked about the ANOVA test or Kruskal-Wallis test. So Kruskal-Wallis test give you the probabilistic analysis for probability for two-class classification problem. That is not useful for multi-class classification problem. Like for here, the emotion is multi-class classification problem which having a 4 different classes. So here we have to go for post hoc analysis. Okay, by using post hoc analysis, just to show you, this is known as post hoc analysis. It is useful for multi-class classification problem. Here you can identify, here you can see these the distribution of these 4 features for entire duration of the signal, for 4 class of the signal. For example, if you talk about the sampling entropy, so sample entropy have a capability to classify happy and sad signal. It do not have capability to classify fear and relax. Clear? Thales entropy have capability to classify happy easily, but other 3 you cannot classify. Same Higuchi fractal dimension, happy you can easily classify, but other 3 have a less discrimination, but relax and fear you can classify. Same Hertz exponent have capability, it can classify happy or relax and sad to relax, but it has similarity in the fear and relax. Based on that, you can identify which particular features is useful and which particular features is not useful for classification purpose. This is another thing, F score. F score will give you what particular electrode, like we have recording of different electrodes, like we have a recording of FP2, F4, FP2, F8, T4, T6, FP1, F3, FP1, F7, and T3 and F. So different type of bipolar recording I have. So now how to identify, how to select channel, and how to identify which particular features is useful. Clear? So for this purpose, F score we need to identify for the all signals of that particular data sets. Clear? Like we have 4 different type of classes, and each class have near around 500 signals. So total 2000 signal we will calculate this F score. Okay? Then we will identify if F score is higher. Suppose here FP1 and F7 having a higher F score for these features, then we can say that this FP1 and F7 electrode is useful for discrimination of these 4 classes. and these features is also useful. So by using post-hoc analysis, you can identify features, and by using this F score, you can identify which particular channel selection is useful. So based on this F score, we can conclude FP1 or F7 is useful for emotion classification. Clear? Means the frontal region is more responsible for emotion classification activity compared to other portion of the brain. Then we have used LSSBM classifier for classification of these 4 emotion classification technique. So as we already discussed, LSSBM classifier is binary classifier. So here we have used 1 against 1 classification strategy. So for example, in 1 against 1, we have used 1 class versus class 2, 1 class versus class 3, 1 class versus class 4. So here we have used polynomial kernel, RBF kernel, Mexican head wavelet kernel, and modulate wavelet kernel. These 4 different kernel parameter we have used. Then the filtering process we have done by using correlation coefficient and spectral content change. Then statistical property we have measures mean, standard deviation, skewness, kurtosis for filtering purpose. So you can remove that particular noise component. This F score we already discussed. This is, yeah. Now this is the performance measures. So here we have used accuracy, error, F score, and kappa value, Cohen kappa. These are the performance measure of kernel functions. So here we can see the Morley wavelet kernel function is providing better classification, which is near around 90.63%. Morley wavelet kernel. This we have compared with entire database which using EEG signals. Okay, so from 2010 to 2018, and this paper we have published in 2019. So this entire signal, whatever the person have done the study of emotion recognition by using EEG, all we have compared by using our method. Our method is providing 90.63, and other methods is given range of 57 to 86 or 87%. Then the conclusion is these type of algorithm, automatic and adaptive framework will be useful for improvement of healthcare or biomedical systems. The AI overcome the limitation of the traditional method and time consuming and error to prone, and this type of method obtain better multi-class classification performance using compared to other existing method. Okay, then after that, the work we have done previously, now today deep learning method is most important. Now everybody is exploring deep learning method. Okay, where they have different type of model like LXNet, VGG16, VGG19, and ResNet 50. Clear? But people are using blindly these models. Again, in the same emotion database, what we have done, we have developed these neural network based, deep neural network based method. But what we have done, we have applied same SPWD, because SPWD will give you better time frequency resolution. Clear? So once you have EEG data, then SPWD we have applied, then different deep learning model we have applied for emotion classification. And for same data, same classification, we are getting near around 97% classification accuracy. Okay? What people are doing? People are using that deep learning model for classification of images. You will get image. If your one dimension data by using time frequency, you can convert into in the form of image. The entire deep learning model you can apply. This paper recently we have published in IEEE transaction of neural network and learning system, which have impact factor near around 8.5. Emotion classification technique we have developed. Clear? And the potential challenges, yeah. Here the development of cost, development cost is very high. Okay, like after the simulation, also required to develop this into a form of product. So there are two ways. Either you can develop some hardware by using FPGA. Another thing, you can develop as a app, packaging app. There is a problem. The EEG signal you need to sense, and that you need to give as a input to your app or hardware. This is the challenging task. So this is the interfacing of your hardware, your sensor through your mobile or through your computer. That is the one challenging task. So yeah, this is known as, that's why the development cost will increase. Second is integration issue, like ethical issue. When you are talking about the medical science, then you need to take ethical approval for acquisition of data. Okay, for physiological you do not require any ethical approval, but yeah, of course, for pathological study you require some, you need to take some ethical approval. Second is data privacy and security. So mobile health application and device that use AI, it's required privacy and security. Second is lack of interoperability between the AI solutions, data exchange, need of the continuous training of data from the clinical status, that is also required. So the rapid and iterative process of software update commonly used to improve the existing product or services. So these are the potential challenges. In industry, it's required high initial capital gain, capital requirement. Second is potential for increasing the unemployment, difficulty in development. These are the few industry challenge by using development of AI system for biomedical. Second is lack of curiosity in healthcare data. Second is state and the federal regulations. So based on that, these are the few industry challenge. So based on that, people are trying to develop some, by overcoming these challenge, people are trying to develop some AI based solution for healthcare systems. So these are a few example how the AI can be used for biomedical development of or improvement of biomedical systems. These are the references that I have used. Currently people are doing. So people are working on EEG signals for different study, like epileptic seizure prediction. Like classification is different. Now people are looking for prediction. Prediction means future what will happen. Whether from your previous data, future expectation they are providing, people are trying to find out. So previously people are working for classification and analysis part. Now people are working on the prediction part. Prediction of any disease. Okay. Previously people have worked for classification of sleep stages. Now people are looking for sleep related disorder. Sleep related disorders means people are trying to find out apnea, snoring, and when people are feeling dreaming. Okay, so like people are trying to state of dream, deep stage condition. Okay, now other thing, people are developing AI based system. Suppose the some system people are trying to develop, like person is feeling sleepy. What should happen? The automatically all electronic instruments should be switch off. Okay, based on the condition of brain, the person will react. Okay, so without any human intervention, the automatically the things will happen. So the people are trying to develop such type of devices, artificial intelligence based devices, which having a capability to take decision. Like for example, what people are doing for heart attack, sometimes the patient having a heart attacks, sometimes first heart attack, second heart attacks. So now what people are doing, people are trying to develop a device, whenever that particular condition will occur, then automatically drugs will inject inside the body, so that that particular effect will get reduced. Okay, so condition, there's suppose a person is having a first heart attack, then doctor says that they give some pills. Whenever you feel uneasy, then you take that particular pills. Clear? But here you require some human intervention. Means people have to do that activity. But by using AI, we should have a device, whenever the activity will occur, automatically drug will inject inside the body. So people are working on these type of artificial intelligence based devices for biomedical applications. Like in EMG, people are working to classification of ALS and normal EMG signal, diagnosis of neuropathy, myopathy. In ECG, people are working on the QRS detection, normal and abnormal heartbeat detection, heart rate variability. So whenever heart rate variability will occur, then it will give the alarm. So people are working in the robotics as well as diagnosis of different type of diseases. Then, yeah, that's all from my side. If you have any question, then you can ask.
Thank you so much, sir. Participants, if you have any query, you can ask. If you have any query, then you can write down into chat box.